Hello everybody! Merry Christmas! Although it was like 2 days ago, 1 day ago. I don't know when you guys celebrate. You celebrate on the 25th or the 24th? That's a good question. Anyway, welcome to part 4 of What If Midoriya Had a Twin Sister. A bit of a shorter part, especially for the USJ, but still a part nonetheless. This is the point where the previous series kind of stopped. I had the part 3 written for it, but I never published it or recorded it, so sorry about that. Anyway, if you enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, and you can always check out the link in the description. Check out my Discord server. If you enjoy this video, do that. And yeah, let's go for 150 likes for the next one. Enjoy the video, everyone. After returning home exhausted from the battle trial, the day passed quickly and the next one arrived. Both students got ready and left the house, heading towards UA High. "You look excited today," Himoto said, looking at her brother, smiling to himself as they walked towards the train station. "Yeah, I guess," Izuku answered, not giving it too much thought. "Is there any particular reason?" Himoto asked. "Not really. I guess I just want to see everyone again. Yesterday's fights were pretty exciting," Izuku responded. "Sure you don't just want to see Uraraka again?" Himoto said teasingly, bumping her brother on the shoulder. "What are you talking about?" Izuku asked, a bit flustered. "I'm talking about the way you looked at Uraraka in her suit. Come on, she totally looked at you the same way," Himoto explained, spelling it out for her brother. "Admit it, you like her." "What? No, I don't," Izuku complained, shouting at his sister while his face turned red. "Izuku and Ichako sitting in a tree. K-I-S," Himoto started singing, annoying her brother. "Stop it," Izuku said, annoyed and embarrassed that she would do something like this in public. "S-I-N," she continued while her phone buzzed in her pocket. She was really getting a kick out of her brother's reaction. "I said stop it," he said, almost jumping on her before she could finish singing. Himoto was pushed back, laughing a bit. Fine, I'll stop," she said, getting her brother to leave her alone. Noticing the buzzing, she grabbed her phone and checked it. "Oh look, Uraraka sent a text. She says that you looked cute in your hero costume," Himoto said, pulling her brother's leg further. "She did?" Izuku asked, an excited expression coming over his face. "Nah, it was Ashido just asking what the math homework is," Himoto said, breaking out into a laugh. "You should have seen your face right now. Priceless!" Izuku just stared at her, annoyed, as they walked to the train station. After a while of traveling, the two siblings arrived at UA, finding the entrance to the school blocked by a bunch of reporters and paparazzi. "Hey, you two, can you tell us what it's like to work so closely with All Might?" a reporter asked as they approached. No comment," Himoto answered as her brother seemed to be getting nervous. She figured this would happen eventually, and the moment came. She finally got to act like in one of those movies. "Is it true that you're All Might's successor?" Himoto asked, trying to imitate the news lady's voice as they walked to class. "Quiet, someone could hear you," Izuku said, pointing his hands to his sister's mouth and looking around. "Come on, I'm just teasing. There isn't anyone even around." "You really need to keep your cool, man. You might get barraged by more members of the press later in life," Himoto said. "I guess you're right," Izuku commented, thinking about it as they entered the building. "I watched the video feeds on everyone's fights. Decent work all around. You all get a slip with feedback on what you can improve on. Let's move on for now. Our first task will decide your future," Aizawa said, leaving a pause at the end which gave room for the class to freak out, thinking it would be another quirk assessment test or something. "You all need to pick a class representative," Aizawa clarified, causing the class to breathe a sigh of relief. Once they realized what he actually said, they got very excited at the idea, with everyone proposing themselves as candidates. It was only thanks to Ida, who proposed a voting system, that the students managed to pick a representative. The results came in and Izuku ended up winning with 3 votes, with the second spot being a tie between Yaoyorozu and Himoto. The tie was resolved via coin flip, which Himoto managed to win, securing that the class government would only be led by one family. After the class representatives were elected, it was time for lunch. While Izuku went to eat with Ochako and Ida, Himoto decided to tag along with Ashido and Tsuyu instead. Izuku had a chat with Ochako and Ida. At first, he just voiced his insecurities about the position he had just been elected for, but the conversation quickly evolved, with Ida revealing his hero heritage. Halfway through their conversation, it was interrupted by an alarm going off. The cafeteria broke out into a panic as everyone tried to get out at once. It was only thanks to Ida that everyone calmed down, as he managed to get everyone's attention and tell them of what likely happened. He had distracted the students long enough for the police to arrive, which made the tension and panic in the atmosphere disappear. Those events led to Izuku giving up the position of class rep to Ida, who gratefully accepted it. "You sure you're okay with Ida being class rep?" Himoto asked as the two headed home at the end of the day. "I'm sure if you ask Ida, he'll give you the position back." "I'm sure," Izuku answered. "I don't think I'm ready for the responsibility yet. I still have to master One for All first. Make it my own." "You already made it your own with Full Cowl," Himoto responded. She had seen how her brother had struggled to that point. "It's not enough. I still have a long way to go," Izuku responded, looking at his hand, a look of determination on his face. The next day, classes went by like normal, until 5th period when Aizawa stepped up to the podium to talk to his class. "Today's training will be a little different. You have 3 instructors. Me, All Might, and another faculty member will be keeping tabs on you," he said, surprising most of his class but also exciting them a bit. "Sir, what kind of training is it?" Zero asked, wanting to know what to expect. "Rescue," Aizawa answered, holding up a sign that read the same thing. "You'll be dealing with natural disasters, shipwrecks, stuff like that." As the class, especially Midoriya, got excited at the prospect, Aizawa presented them with the choice between wearing their hero costumes or regular gym clothes. Of course, everyone, excluding Izuku, whose costume had been damaged, elected to use their hero costumes, thinking it the cooler option. After a 15-minute bus ride, the class arrived at the off-campus facility, being greeted by the hero in charge of it. "It's the Space Hero 13, the chivalrous pro who has rescued a ton of people from disasters across the world," Midoriya said, marveling at the hero. His sister looked at him, a fond look on her face. 13 wasn't one of her favorites, but it was still cool to meet her, plus the look on Izuku's face was heartwarming. "Woohoo! 13's one of my favorite heroes!" Uraraka added before 13 led them into the facility. "I can't wait to show you what's inside," 13 said, inviting the students in. She started presenting the facility to the students, explaining what it's for and talking about the danger of quirks in general. "Right, now that that's over," Aizawa stated, wanting to get the exercises done with. They were 1 staff member short, and the sooner they got started, the better. As they got ready to start the training, a weird electric discharge went around the USJ, causing havoc on the lights and electronics of the facility. Moments after, a portal opened in the middle of the facility, with a man covered in hands stepping out, a monster with an exposed brain following moments after. It was a sudden development that surprised both the teachers and students. More and more portals started opening across the facility, with villains stepping out of them. Once everyone had arrived, the main portal in the center manifested eyes and took a humanoid form. "All of you, stay together and don't move! 13, protect the students!" Aizawa shouted, putting on his glasses while he studied the situation. "Has the training started already? I thought we were rescuing people," Kirishima asked, confused. This didn't match up with what they had been told before. "Stay back! This is no joke, those are real villains," Aizawa shouted, scaring his students a bit. If things went poorly, fear would be what would keep them alive. After taking a moment to analyze the situation carefully, Aizawa left the students in 13's care and jumped into the battlefield to act as a distraction. He knew he wouldn't last long, but he could buy time so his students could escape and call for help. I know you probably want to analyze his fighting style, but we should prioritize getting out of here above all else, Himoto suggested as Izuku took a look over the edge. She knew that if she left him to his own devices, then he'd just end up staring until the fight ended, but they needed to get out of there. You're right, Izuku said, slapping himself on the cheek to focus on the matter at hand. The class, along with 13, ran towards the exit, but when they were halfway there, that's when a misty villain suddenly appeared before them, blocking their path. There is no escape, the villain stated. It's a pleasure to meet you. We are the League of Villains. I know it's impolite, but we have decided to invite ourselves into this haven of justice to say hello. And besides, isn't this a fitting place for All Might, the symbol of peace, to take his last breath? I believe he was supposed to be here today, yet I see no sign of him. There must have been some sort of change of plans that we could have not have foreseen. Oh well, in the end, I suppose it doesn't matter. I still have a role to play. Once the monologue seemed to be coming to its end, Bakugo and Kirishima jumped to attack the villain, with Bakugo throwing an explosion at him. Himoto wanted to attack herself, but she was stopped by her brother, who thought it more prudent to see how the situation developed first. The two boys jumping at the villain ended up blocking 13 from unleashing her own attack. The explosion did little else than create a smokescreen. Did you really think we were going to just stand around and let you tear this place to shreds? Kirishima asked, thinking they had just beaten the villain. You live up to your school's reputation, but you should be more careful, children. Otherwise, someone might get hurt. My compatriots will take care of you, the villain said while expanding his body to cover the group of students. He manifested a number of portals that ended up swallowing the students, scaring them through the facility. He intended to scatter all of them, but some students managed to slip through the cracks. The portal opened in the downpour zone a couple meters above the air. Himoto came barreling out of the portal, crashing into the ground. Ah, that hurts, she said to herself while getting up and scratching her head, trying to soothe the pain. She took in her surroundings. Why did it have to be the rain zone? Just why? Any other place would have worked, she complained in her head as she looked around. After a moment of looking, she spied Tokoyami, who came out of a separate portal, falling down to the ground. You alright? She asked while helping Tokoyami up. Fine. How about yourself? You seem to have sustained damage as well, Tokoyami said, looking over Himoto, who had a bit of dust on her. Just fine, she said, smiling at her classmate while striking a pose as if to say, better than ever. I'm glad. The only question left is what we should do now, Tokoyami stated while starting to take a look at his surroundings, spotting a bit of movement. We should probably prioritize getting out of here. I don't know about you, but I can't really use my quirk properly with all this water pouring down. Not to mention the others could likely use our help, Himoto said, thinking the situation over. That may be easier said than done, Tokoyami said, keeping his eyes centered on the horizon as a couple different villains started stepping out of the shadows, grinning as they approached their prey. Himoto breathed out, letting flames flow from her throat as Tokoyami summoned Dark Shadow to fight. She directed the flames to her shoulders, but nothing happened. The flames just went out. Crap! Why did it have to be rain? Himoto complained, whispering to herself. It may be a lot to ask, but if you could try to separate your flames from me, the light weakens Dark Shadow, Tokoyami said, wanting to maximize their chances. We really have been dealt a bad hand, huh? Himoto asked with a chuckle. Indeed we have, Tokoyami responded as the enemies approached. I hope you're doing better than me, Izuku, Himoto thought as one of the villains tackled her. Above the flood zone, a portal opened and Izuku came falling from it, accelerating until he hit the water below him. The situation he found himself in left him disoriented. He opened his eyes in the water, trying to gain a sense of where he was, but before he could properly piece things together, a shark-like villain spotted him and came charging at him, wanting to eat him. Preparing for the fight to come, Izuku activated One for All, but before he could fight back, Tsuyu showed up, pushing the villain away and grabbing onto Izuku, taking him to the nearby boat. Once on the boat, Izuku, Tsuyu, and Mineta started discussing the situation, putting all the information they knew on the table, trying to figure out a proper strategy. Mineta got scared in the middle of the discussion, so he shot out all his balls at the water. The other two managed to stop him, but Mineta ended up getting the villains to attack, which forced the three students to take action. While they were fighting the flood zone, forcing the villains together to immobilize them, in the entrance to the facility, the students who managed to escape Kurogiri's portal discussed their best course of action. They had managed to ascertain the locations of their classmates thanks to Shoji, and had come up with a plan to call for help. Although there were a couple bumps in the road, Ida, thanks to the help of his teacher and classmates, managed to get out of the USJ, running as fast as he could towards the main building in order to get help. Tsuyu, Mineta, and Izuku headed to the center plaza. They had taken care of the villains. The plan was originally to push all of them together, sticking them to one another with Mineta's balls, but they were too many, so in the end, Izuku had to use 100% of his power. To his advantage, he had focused all of it in one single finger in order to limit the damage taken by him. They got there just in time to see how the villains overpowered their teacher. Once Aizawa was pinned and beaten, Kurogiri returned to his master's side. "Kurogiri, is 13 dead?" Shigaraki asked. "She's incapacitated, but unfortunately there were some students I did not manage to scatter, and one of them got away," Kurogiri informed. "Damn it, Kurogiri! If you weren't our warp gate, I'd kill you right now!" Shigaraki complained, frantically scratching himself all over. They were now forced to retreat, but he would at least hurt the school as much as possible before doing so. Shigaraki rushed at the three students, wanting to at least kill one, but Aizawa managed to block his quirk just in time, which allowed Izuku to push him back right after, using One for All to enhance the push. "Very cool, Eraser. Plus, that kid's got spirit. I hate that," Shigaraki said, getting ready to prolong the fight. Before he could do much else, a loud crash was heard emanating from the facility's entrance. Out of the dust cloud created, All Might stepped out, calming the students in the vicinity and putting them at ease. "Have no fear, students. I am here," he said, a stern expression on his face. "Seems like the final boss has been unlocked," Shigaraki stated, excited. He was finally going to get his chance to kill All Might and watch society crumble as a result. All Might took a moment to assess the situation and rushed to the center plaza, taking down all the villains on his way there, quickly and easily. Once there, he grabbed Aizawa, setting him down gently. He then removed his students from the dangerous situation and got ready to fight the group head-on. A fierce battle ensued, one which All Might couldn't win alone. Luckily, he had some of his students to assist him. Thanks to them, he managed to beat the League's main muscle, sending the Nomu flying away, having hit him with over 320 mighty blows. The battle seemed like it was going to go on longer, but the other teachers arrived, causing Kurogiri to force a retreat. The teachers went around the facility, making short work of the villains and ensuring their students' safety while they waited for the police to arrive. And that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed. As always, if you didn't, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. If you if you already did, do not subscribe again or you'll be unsubscribed. Please don't do that. You can also check out the Discord, link in the description below, where I'm always available to talk to people, or usually available. I do need to sleep sometimes and go to school, so yeah. But since we're on winter vacation, I should be mostly available. yeah, I'm just gonna get into a couple things here. It was a bit of a shorter video, 17-18 minutes, not counting intro and outro, mainly because I couldn't think of much too interesting to do. Sure, I could have described Himoto's fight in the downpour zone, but we don't really get to see the villains they fight there, and I don't want to make up new villains, so yes. I mean, if it was a Marvel or DC video or something, I would use villains of that universe in order to flesh it out a bit, but that doesn't happen here, so just skipped it a bit. It's still going to have a bit of ramifications. There's nothing too interesting to do here. Almost a bit weakened. You can see by him taking 20 extra blows since he gave Izuku one for a bit sooner, but it doesn't affect him that much because most of his weakness comes from the injury and whatnot. Yeah. It's a bit short. I'm also getting a bit tired of writing the USJ, but I'm going to have to keep doing it, and doing it, and doing it, and doing it, over and over and over again, because that's the life I signed up to, apparently. Yeah, at least the next, I'm thinking the next What If won't be for a bit. Should only come out on my birthday, if everything goes according to plan, which it doesn't always, but still. Hope you enjoyed this video. I think the next one, which the script is already written for, is gonna be a lot more interesting. Hit 150 likes if you want to see the video by next week. And until next time, everyone, have an absolutely fantastic day. And happy holidays. And yeah, hope you enjoy everything. Bye!